Hey, anime lovers!
Hey.
Welcome back to our anime huddle. Previously, we went ahead and talked about the first part of season 1 of AOT, which were episodes 1 to 13, and we actually made a mistake. We're so sorry about this, guys.
Yeah,
We
sorry.
said it was chapters from 1 through 14. It was a mistake on our part. Again, sorry. But the first part of the first season went ahead and covered chapters 1 through 17 and half of chapter 18. So, for today, we're going to be covering the next half of season 1 of AOT, and we made sure that we got the correct number of chapters this time. It'll be the second part of season 1, and it covers the half of chapter 18, and it graces over a little bit over chapter 34. So,
Yeah.
chapters 18 to 34. Okay, so we begin with a debate over who is gonna oversee Eden, the Survey Corps or the Military Police Brigade. This was the start of AOT's political side, I guess,
Yeah.
because AOT is not about all about action, and we're seeing it right here with season 4. It has gotten very big into politics, or at least fake politics. Iyasayama has done a very great job in integrating the story, and this was honestly one of the most tense moments. We
Yeah.
see how this trial is gonna basically oversee everything that happens in the future. For example, the one overseeing everything is Generalissimo Dallas Zackley. I forgot if that's his actual name, but his very few first lines are, "Your case is unprecedented. It stirred a clamor inside these walls and brought forth two clashing viewpoints. There are people who call you a demon that will be our undoing. Other people consider you our savior and our guide to hope." And that
Right.
is almost the same thing with everything. There are always two opposing sides. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's completely true. And in the case of Eden, there was like very two valid points for the military to either consider him an ally or, their downfall.
Yeah.
I think that since we started off this story, looking at Eden's side, well, we, of course, as the audience, see Eden as an ally. We don't see him as a downfall for humanity. But there are various points that I guess we're going to talk about right now that show the potential of Eden also being the downfall for humanity.
Yeah, I mean, the people in Paradise Island have been fighting titans. They have a whole military party dedicating themselves to fighting titans. And now one of their own people is a titan. That is just basically a huge surprise, something nobody expected. And
Right?
when they hear the word titans, they hear enemy, they hear destruction, and that is a very good point. The one the military police brings up to not get him over to the scouts, because one, he tried to punch Mikasa 3 times when he transformed, and the
Yeah,
fact that 6 years ago Mikasa killed an adult with Eren, and Eren killed two robbers. So when Eren was trying to save Mikasa from these robbers, they killed them, and that basically questions their basic human nature.
true.
Since,
And
yeah, go ahead.
sorry, and let's not forget also that like Eren attacking Mikasa, who is the closest thing he has as for a family. That's how Mikasa got her scar. Do you remember?
It was under her lower eye, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Oh wait, so when Eren punched, that's when she actually got the scar?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I hadn't paid attention to that point.
Yeah. And looking at the other view side, people see Eren as a savior because Eren was literally the only reason why they were able to cover up that hole in the wall of trust that basically saved them. We see him, carrying that boulder, and that helped them, to prevent other titans from coming in. He also saved Mikasa twice. First, when he transformed for the first time and he killed the titan that was about to kill Mikasa, and also when he blocked that cannonball to shield Mikasa and Armin. So, of course, obviously, we are on Eden's side. We know that he doesn't have bad intentions. But, of course, the military police hasn't had the luxury of getting to know Eren fully, to understand how he thinks, and to see what his real intentions are. So, of course, when they first encounter him, they see him as an enemy.
That's when they threaten that Mikasa should be killed, and Eren lashes out. I mean, he begins to tell the people who just want what is best for their business in their place. I mean, I guess this is a very good representation of how it is usually when there are very political viewpoints or something that is just controversial. There are two sides, and sometimes there is one small opinion in the middle, and that was Eden's viewpoint. He said,
Right?
I can help you, just give me the chance.
Right.
And then this is the part that just gets me every time when Levi just beats up Eden. What was going
Yeah.
through your mind when that was happening?
Well, at first I was a little confused. I thought Levi was gonna help Eren. I guess we hadn't had enough time to meet Levi, and this is when we actually truly started seeing Levi for who he was. I just thought, like, dang, this guy, he's a savage. I mean, for 1 second, I was actually wishing for Eren to transform into a Titan and try to defend himself. But at the same time, then I started thinking, it's like, wait, if he transforms, that's actually just going to reinforce the idea to the government that he's just a monster.
Yeah, he's dangerous.
Right. So I guess at first I was a little shocked, but I saw what Levi was trying to do. You get me? I was like, okay, if Eren is able to control himself from transforming, I think they're gonna give him a chance.
And he pulls it off.
Yeah. Didn't he lose like a couple of teeth?
Yeah, he did when I'm sorry, when Levi kicks him the first time, a tooth just falls out.
Right.
Man.
And yeah, and he heals that. I mean, that would be so amazing, getting hurt and you just heal it within seconds. Yeah, I think this is where we actually start to get a little bit of character development. Now that we're not involved exactly in all the action, because for one, we also get a little bit more of some Hanji action. We start learning her quirks and personality of how she just wants to learn more about Titans, and she has a very very different outlook on Titans. I think she has a lot of mad scientist vibes. uh, she's a little crazy, but she doesn't fear the Titans. She just wants to learn more from them because at the same time she is an ally for humanity. She does want to help humanity beat the Titans, but she does it in such a peculiar way. She's very quirky.
Yeah, and when the two titans that they had captured previously are killed, I mean, you can see her destroyed. What were the names? Bean and
Bean and
Sonny.
Sunny.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
when they kill Bean and Sonny, she's just devastated. And a very interesting question Erwin asks Eren: who is the enemy in your opinion?
that is very cool. I mean, especially now that we are almost in Endgame Attack on Titan. Like, That's literally the question that even the opening of Attack on Titan season 4 asks. Who is the real enemy? When I first saw it, I thought that, Edwin was just referring to who killed Bean and Sunny.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. But now I just think that Edwin really thought that this was a far more complex issue than just humanity trying to eradicate Titans. So, I mean, that just shows Edwin being like such a genius when it came to military strategies.
Yeah, I mean, he was such a great leader. And after this, we get the expedition for the forest. I guess Eren's way to prove himself that he is an ally for the people of Paradise Island. And we also get the introduction to the female Titan. And she just wrecks all the scouts, even captains.
Right,
What were
yeah.
your first thoughts on her?
I thought that the female Titan was a savage, and I actually saw her as an actual threat. Because when we first are in the Battle of Thrust, you know, we see the Titans as a huge enemy, but then, we get Titan Eren, and we see a little sliver of hope for humanity. But then Hajime Isayama introduces the female Titan, and she's wrecking even the top soldiers within the scout regiment. And then you think, like, well, if not even the best soldiers that the scouts have, captains even, are being destroyed by the female Titan, that just like Hajime Isayama was like, you ain't going nowhere. You have to sit down right here.
Yeah, I mean, looking at just regular Titans, they were almost very childlike. You know, they just walked. Only abnormals, of course, but they were just walking. They didn't seem like much of a threat. Of course, they were huge and they would just wreck everywhere they went, but they weren't such threatening looking. When the female Titan just
Right.
comes, she is dashing
True.
and just,
They confuse her as a abnormal Titan in the beginning, right?
yeah. And oh my god, when she catches up to Armin, I thought, that's it for him. Bye bye, Armin.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, Attack on Titan established itself as an anime that anyone can die.
yeah, no one's safe.
So yeah, so I for sure thought that Armin was a goner too when I first started watching it.
Yeah, and then she just lifts up his hood and just leaves. How crazy must that have been?
That had me confused, honestly, when I first saw it. I was like, why didn't she kill Armin? I mean, that, like, itself gave off the idea that this was an intelligent Titan. I mean, we had already been introduced to the fact that there are some humans, like in this case, Eren, that can transform into Titans. But, that kind of like established the fact that, oh, this Titan is intelligent, so there must be a human controlling it.
Yep. And then we get Reiner and John catch up to Armin, and they're just right behind the female Titan, and they start their counterattack. And the three of them just go at her, and she just catches Reiner.
Yep.
And as soon as she's about to squeeze him, he just 3D maneuvers and cuts her fingers off.
Savage. Reiner for the win. We thought he was a goner.
Reiner, Isayama was just playing with our feelings. First Armin,
Yes, that's exactly how I feel. He was just like giving off this tense vibe to see who was gonna die next.
yeah, and he did it very good. He pulled it off.
Yeah.
And so after they escape from the female Titan, she just leaves.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. She just kind of like leaves Reiner alone instead of trying to kill him. You know, leaving the breadcrumbs for what was about to come.
Yep. So Krista comes back with two spare horses, which now Reiner, John, and Armin can catch up to the rest of the group heading towards the forest. And as soon as the female Titan catches a glimpse of Eren, she smiles.
Really? I hadn't noticed that detail. Does she smile?
Yeah, she smiles. So
Oh wow. I mean, yeah.
yeah,
I
so
mean, her objective was Eren.
yeah, so as Armin was the one that went ahead and concluded that, he told the rest of the group she is looking for someone. She's lifting people's hoods up.
Hmm.
And this just confirmed that she was looking for Eren. One of the most intense chase scenes ever. I mean, the female Titan is right behind the Levi squad. We don't know what's about to
Yep.
happen. I mean, other squads are coming in from the left and right and behind her, trying to cut off her nape, but it's almost like if she's human. Wink, wink. It's almost as if she's
Right.
human, and she can jump. She can go ahead and dodge everything that they're being thrown at her. She knows how the 3D maneuver gear works,
Right. Yeah.
so she knows how to defend herself. And Eren just thinks about turning into his Titan form. What would you have done? People are dying behind you, and you have the power to change that.
So, since I already know the outcome to all of this,
Yeah.
I would have transformed. And I think Eren should have transformed. But I understand why he didn't. I mean, he didn't know how much of a threat the female Titan was.
Yeah.
He had seen very briefly what was going on, but he didn't have an idea of how much of a threat she was. If he knew, I don't doubt that he would have transformed. But then, you get that Levi scene where he says, "Hey, trust us. You have to. We are a team. You have to trust us." And we also get like a little bit of like a flashback, right?
Yeah.
Of Eren and the Levi squad. You know, putting his trust on Eren. That was very touching.
Yeah, and that just reinforces why Eren, I guess when you're watching the anime, it shows you that he did the right decision because of the song that is playing on the background, and I don't know, I guess just people are smiling a bit more. The song seems a bit more hopeful now that he trusted his comrades. And as soon as
Yeah.
she's about to catch up to them, Erwin comes in clutch. So this whole time, Levi's squad was leading the female Titan to an ambush. There are these cannons that have an arrow and a rope tied together, and they all just shoot at the Titan. The more the Titan heals, the more she's trapped. So
Right.
she's completely trapped.
She's in a huge pickle right there.
Yeah. And they actually catch her. I mean, she was dodging everything. And she didn't even see this coming, which was awesome. I sighed hugely with relief.
Yeah, me too. I think like, okay, yeah, this is where Erwin like is about to show who he is.
Yeah, I thought that was it. I'm like, okay, yeah, the female Titan threat is gone. But little did we know.
We didn't know anything.
So she screamed so loud that Titans around the forest hear her and they charge at her. And as soon as they get to her, they start eating her. And since these Titans, they emit this mist when they're being hurt, there is so much mist around them that nobody knows what's going on. So they all back off, and the person that is inside the Titan just 3D maneuver gears out of there.
Mm-hmm.
So the person is very, very quick to adapt.
Yeah, it can improvise.
It's almost like if she's a scout. A scout? A
Yep.
scout. So since her target was Eren all along, she goes to where Eren is, and the first person she kills is Gunter.
R.I.P. Gunter. You know what? R.I.P. Levi Squad. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah.
He like massacres everyone. Poor Petra. R.I.P. for Petra. Like, I was in shock. I was sad, and I was angry that Isayama was just like, ha ha ha, you thought, and just like kills everyone in Levi's squad. You could actually see some of the sadness in Levi's squad, but at the same time, since he's been through so much, like he has that lifeless look. Like, he's sad, but at the same time,
He knows this happens.
right, yes, and I don't know, but poor Levi. Like,
Honestly, I really like Petra.
yeah, I liked all of them. Like, it was an amazing group, and I mean, now that I think about it, I guess that's why Hajime Isayama was giving more screen time to that squad.
Yeah, and Eren is instructed to just go to the nearest captain because that is someone they can trust. But he circles back and he Titan shift.
Amazing Titan shipped sequence commences.
This is where the hero is supposed to beat down the main villain, yet no. Isayama tells us how inexperienced Eren is.
Right, yeah.
Because the female Titan just hardens her foot and it just does a roundhouse. Cuts cleanly through a tree and cleanly through Eren's head. Just KOs him.
Yeah, insane. And then we get that moment where I guess what Levi was trying to fight against. Eren gets captured by the female Titan. And it was insane because I think everybody was like, he gets eaten again. At least that's what I thought. Now, of course, we get the Ackermans try to fight back. Levi being an awesome captain, 3D maneuver gears, and just like cuts everything from the female Titan. He blinds them, he cuts them in the leg, the arm, the mouth muscles so fast that he is able to save Eren, and that's how they were able to retreat. They do not try to see who the female Titan is because they are all so exhausted. They had been like under a lot of stress for so long.
Yeah, and it makes sense that everyone was tired. Not only the female Titan, but Mikasa and Levi, of course. So we find out that Eren was proven not useful at controlling his Titan powers. So he's gonna be handed over to the military police. And according to Armin, and the accord that Erwin had come to, Eren had to go to that trial.
Right. So Mikasa, Armin, and Eren are able to get Annie's help to get him to hide in the meantime while the scouts find some evidence to let him stay with the scouts. But this was all a plan to get Annie because the scouts now knew that she was the female Titan. Now, question: did you suspect Annie of being the female Titan?
I honestly did.
Really?
And the only reason was because of the hair.
I hear that a lot.
The hair gave it away for some reason, even though there's no resemblance.
I mean, I guess just blonde hair, but I, for one, had no clue who the female Titan was. So that reveal of Annie, starts laughing like a maniac while Armin, Mikasa, and Eren are trying to get her to go down in the sewers or whatever that low point is to try to capture her. Like, I was in shock. She gets that little ring and cuts herself to be able to transform. And I was like, I did not know that Annie was the female Titan.
And so Eren Titan shift, and they start their fight inside the walls.
Yeah.
And Annie is dominating.
Yeah, she has the best fighting experience.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely see their experience with the Titans. I mean, not only did Annie have the upper hand because she was very good in hand to hand combat, we saw that in the scouts training, but she has definitely had the Titan longer. I mean, Eren
True.
had just found out about his powers and he was just barely learning how to use them.
And can we talk about the outcome of that fight?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of underwhelming at first sight, at first watch, sorry. How she just cocoons up in her Titan hardening
Right?
and none of the swords can get through to it. But in the walls, there's Titans.
We learned that there's Titans. You know, that menacing face looking through the broken portion of the stone wall. I was like, what? I was confused. I was like, how does this make any sense? Like, are there Titans just kind of like walking, inside the walls? But I was like, how does that make any sense? But I guess Hisayama pulled it off because now we know what it is. It's the rumbling.
And seeing it, honestly, it's going to be amazing, guys. We are going to go ahead and watch the next episode of Attack on Titan. What's the name of the episode? We're going to be watching episode 70, Deceiver, and we'll be back with our thoughts. Okay, so we just came back from watching episode 70, Deceiver.
That was a great episode.
It was great.
I I have so many thoughts. We have a lot to unpack, so why don't we get started? We start with Gavi and Falco, being in prison with Gavi. She seems to be in a lot of pain. She's screaming in agony. And Falco is trying to help her and calls for help. And a soldier, who's guarding their cell, is very concerned. I mean, they're just kids. And as he comes to help her, Gabi just like bonks him in the head with a brick and kills him.
You can see when she first, because it was in like a sack, when she first just swings the sack, you can see that the brick actually knocked him out.
Yeah, yeah,
But she
definitely.
just proceeds to go ahead and hit him again and again and again.
Yeah, it was just overkill. Even Falco thought so. It's like, dude, you already knocked him out. So we get a beautiful shot of Gavi and Falco, in the forest. The environment looks amazing. They're by a river or some sort of body of water. And, they're trying to discuss what Gavi or Falco are going to do, you know? They are in an unknown land, so their options are very limited. And we can see the level of brainwash that Gavi has. Because even when they're not even in Marley, she still wants to wear that armband.
Yeah, she even attacks Falco when he takes it off.
Yeah, and the problem is that Falco mentions, if you wear the armband, they're gonna discover who we are, right? And they have a little fight between them. I feel like the main reason why they are fighting is the difference in opinion that they both have. I mean, we have seen it in the past couple of episodes as Falco has been discovering more and more the truth. He doesn't really see the people of Paradise Island as the devil, but Gabi does. And so Kaya shows up, the little girl that Sasha saved, and asks what they're doing in the middle of the forest. Gavi, you know, thinking that she is discovered, picks up a rock, to try to kill her. But, then Kaya offers them a place to stay. And, a little tidbit that I noticed while watching this episode is that in the manga, when Kaya offers them a place to stay, Falco grabs Gavi's arm to stop her from, like, getting the rock, to prevent her from trying to kill her.
Okay, nice little detail.
Yeah, yeah, it was very interesting. They left it off in the manga. I think it wasn't a huge deal, but it was a little moment that I kind of wanted it to be in the anime.
So they go with Kaya, and there she introduces them to Sasha's family, of course, without telling them they are the family of Sasha. And Falco bakes up this story that they are both brothers, Ben and Mia. And Sasha's dad tells them not to bow because they were bowing, they were requesting for a place to sleep, that they would work, so that they could have a place to stay. They are offered breakfast, and in a very tense moment, when Sasha's mom touches Mia, Mia just, or Gabi, just hits her hand away, just shivering in terror. And the part that got me the most was when she's actually gonna go ahead and eat the food. Falco goes right ahead and starts digging in,
Yeah.
but she just does it in such terror, like in disgust of what she's about to eat. That just shows you how great the brainwashing is that the Marleyans have done on Eldians.
Yeah, it was a very surreal moment with Gabi. I mean, her conviction is there, you know. Paradise Island people are evil. So I don't know if she was shaking because she thought maybe the food was poisoned or just the mere fact that she is sitting with Eldians that she's just like shivering in terror. I think she honestly thinks she's gonna die, at least in that moment. So it was just a very tense scene, and it goes to show you, the level of brainwash that the Marleyans have imposed on the Eldians.
So next we see Hanji, and she starts talking to Flock's group and some of his followers, and they are detained because they went ahead and leaked the information that Eren was being imprisoned, or being detained at least. And the people of Paradise Island, they ask Hanji, hey, what's up? What's going on? Eren is the one that went ahead and saved us. He is a hero of Marley. Why are you detaining the hero of Marley? They see Eren as the leader of the new Elden Empire.
Or at least Flock does, along with his group. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah. My bad. Yeah.
the the reporters, are just trying to get answers, and we really see Hanji struggling here in this episode, and that's like what they have been showing, at least on Hanji's arc, how much she's just like struggling to put out the fires like that come up like from one side to the other. In the last episode, we see Hanji, ask like, why did Edwin make me a commander? She is under a ton of pressure. She even grunts in frustration in this episode, which I thought was pretty funny, but it was just, it's all too real. Whenever somebody has a position of great power, it comes with a lot of responsibility and a lot of pressure. So she has to deal with Flock, acting out and leaking confidential information, and she also has to deal with the reporters that are asking all these questions, because the reporters are like somehow in the right, at least to a certain extent. They want to know like what is going on. They even ask her if they can trust her on the information that she is providing. So we can really see, Hanji struggling to keep everything under control.
Yeah, it is a great responsibility, the one she carries.
Yeah, next up we see Mikasa talking with one of Flock's, I guess we could say, disciples. Her name is Louise, and she starts mentioning how she believes in what Flock is saying, that Eren is going to be the leader of the Eldian Empire, and that the sole reason why she decided to do that is because she was in awe when Mikasa saved her in the Battle of Thrust. And I think I remember that when, there was that person who was trying to put all the merchandise through and it was blocking the people from going in, and there was a titan arriving. Mikasa was the one who like saved them, and therefore ever since that day, she wanted to get close to her.
Yeah, she came up with the conclusion that in order to change something, you need to have power. And the only one that has power, technically the biggest power, is Eren.
Right.
So that is why she's doing all these things. Well, at least in everyone's eyes, extremist.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I would almost go out on a limb and agree with that, like they are going on the extremist route. We also get a little bit more of information on Yelena. You know, ever since she came out in the anime, like the anime has been like slowly giving like a little bit of clues that Yelena is not who we think she is. Like Pixies is interrogating her and saying how it is so weird that ever since Yelena started getting somewhat close to Eren and Flock, they have been acting out. First, we get Eren started making decisions on his own. And then we also get Flock leaking confidential information. So I don't know. What do you think of Yelena now, based on the information that we have?
Yeah, at first I thought, oh wow, look, a person that actually sees things clearly, is trying to actually make a change. But now I don't know if she is a Marleyan spy or she just has her own agenda separate to Zeke's, or what is up. Everyone has their own agenda. It feels like that,
Yeah, yeah.
and it is just gonna all collide in just one huge moment.
Yeah, I feel like this will all just lead to like this moment, and I mean I don't know what's going to happen. Well, I do. I just don't want to reveal it. But yeah, so then we get Gabi struggling to do chores around the Browse farm. Um, they rest for a bit after Gavi is savagely and brutally attacked by a horse. And they start resting for lunch. Kaya starts telling them a little bit of the farm they're in, how she is a orphan, right? And Gavi, just kind of like tells her, like, you know what, it's what you deserve. You are the devil of the island. Of course, this was going to happen to you. At this point, Kaya knows that they are Merleyan, but she isn't saying or doing anything about it really. And when they hear that line of like, "Hey, is this what they teach you in Marley?" They just like keep talking, and then they're like, "Wait, what did you say?"
Yeah, the only reason why they were basically lying about their names and personalities was because they didn't want them to figure out that they were Marleyan.
Yeah,
But seeing as they are Marleyan and she hasn't treated them in any different manner, it tells you a lot that she really doesn't care where they're from.
yeah, exactly. The only reasonable thing for to do was for Gabi to grab a pitchfork and try to kill Kaya because she knows too much. Of course, Falco stops her. They start a ruckus, and the other orphans start noticing this little fight that they're having, but Kaya still covers for them. You know, Kaya could have just said, they're Marleyans and they want to attack me, but she didn't do that. My guess is that Kaya really wants to teach wanted to teach Gabi, because we get that scene later on, about what her true experiences have been. She wanted to show her that they aren't these people or these creatures that the Marley government has made them out to be.
I actually think she's actually just trying to understand why people of the outside world think they're devils. I mean, they have this great interaction, Kaya and Gabby, about what they both believe in.
Yeah, true. And honestly, this scene just made me appreciate more Gabi's character. I know this is a very controversial take. A lot of people hate Gabi, but I can totally see the character development that Gabi is going to go through based on this episode. So Kaya, shows them the village that she lived before the Titans destroyed it, and she starts telling Gabi and Falco how her mom died while being eaten alive. And therefore, she asks the question, what exactly did my mom do? She says, my mom lived and was raised in the village. She never killed, slaughtered, or took over other cultures. So why did she die? And Gavi just keeps saying the same thing over and over ago. Your ancestors, the people from the past, a century ago, a millennia ago. And then that's why Kaya says, well, that was a century ago. What about the people who live now? How have we sinned? And then she goes to say, the point of, well, you trampled my home a few days ago. And Kaya says, oh, yeah, my mom was killed 4 years ago. So how is it her fault? Kaya breaks down and she starts crying and, starts saying, my mom didn't kill anyone. Why? 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 Man, this scene almost broke me. And of course, Gabi doesn't have an answer to that question because she doesn't really have a valid answer on why hate Eldians.
It was a great character moment on Falco's side because he tells her it was Marleyans. They went ahead and put an attack that was gonna soon be to take over Paradise Island, and he apologizes on
On
Marley's
behalf of
side,
Marley, yeah.
on behalf of Marley. And Kaya even understands their situation. And she tells Falco that he did not even have to apologize since he was just born there. He didn't do the attack. And that is basically what people are supposed to see. Not what happened centuries ago, but what about today? How can we change today?
Yeah, that is very true. You know, it's all about what you're doing now, not about what you did in the past. And Gavi, just wants to concentrate on the past. She doesn't want to concentrate on the present. Her outlook on the past is so strong that she hates the present, I could even say. So very, very powerful moment.
And then we get set up for what's about to happen in the next episode. So Kaya tells Gabi and Falco that with the help of Sasha, she was able to go ahead and live, survive from being eaten by the Titan. So Kaya wants to grow up and be like her, but in the meantime, they are invited to eat at a restaurant, which a Marleyan, aka Nicolo, is the one that is working there, and he might be able to go ahead and get them home. So I think something big is gonna happen here.
Yeah, it's all set up. It's just setting up and building up to be this like huge thing. So, I mean, I guess we'll see if Gabi will start understanding the Eldian side. So, I would like to know what you think, listener. Do you think that Gabi is gonna be able to sympathize or empathize on the Eldian or the Paradise people struggle? That's the question for you guys.
We cut to the aftermath of the attack on Marley, where the Marleyan government figured out that Zeke was actually siding with the Paradise Island. And the commander, Maggoth, I think that's his name, he says there will be a joint attack or a global attack on Paradis in 6 months. But that is way too long. Because, I mean, they know Zeke, and Zeke is going to have countermeasures prepared for when they come.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Zeke is like a very good strategist, so of course he's gonna have something to try to stop him.
Yeah, definitely. So Reiner suggests that they need to launch a surprise attack.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see how it goes. I mean, we only have a very limited amount of episodes left on this, I guess I would say, first part of season 4. I mean, it's been rumored that, we might get either a second part of the season to continue where the manga has been kept going, or a movie, but it's just setting up for this huge thing. And I can't wait to get there and discuss it with you guys.
The next episode will be episode 71, Guides.
Make sure to like this episode, share with your friends and family who watch Attack on Titan, and follow us on social media. Link is in the description. Thank you for huddling up with us today, and have a lovely day.